Did you remember to get the Melu run?
Garabast!
Hey there, Nomads of Lore. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Sean.
And we are Meat and Mischief, your home away from no home. Today we're going to be discussing one of our favorite shows, Star Wars Rebels. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about our 3 favorite episodes from Season 1. And so this is definitely spoiler-filled if you haven't watched it. Mm-hmm. If you want to learn more about it and are okay with some spoilers, you might watch this. But otherwise, go watch it, and then you can come back and listen to our favorites.
So we're going to get a little bit sneaky. And on our first favorite episode, we're actually going to sneak in 2 episodes. And we wanted to include both of these episodes together. I don't know that one of them in particular is necessarily my or our favorite episode from this season, but these 2 episodes kind of highlight what's really great about Rebels, and they do it really well. Season 1, of course, is very important, especially even more so in Rebels than in like Clone Wars, because in Clone Wars you were using established characters. I mean, we had Ahsoka was added; she was a brand new character and all that, but Rebels, everybody's new. And so season 1 is super important to introduce the cast, which you might be thinking we're going to do episode 1. We thought about it. It is good. But the 2 episodes we are going to talk about is episodes 3. Episode 3 and episode 5. So episode 3 is called Droids in Distress. Now, Droids in Distress we want to talk about because it kind of highlights the comedic side of Rebels. There's a lot of comedy, more so than in Clone Wars overall. It's got
more
some
so than almost any other Star Wars. Almost
that's probably maybe the holiday special, but that was not intentionally comedic. So there it is. But Droids in Distress is a really funny episode. It's kind of this con that the Ghost crew goes on, and they are trying to, I don't even remember what they're trying to get, some information or technology or something, but that's
not the importance of the episode.
No, it really isn't. They're going on this mission that they get from Vizago, the horned alien dude, and he's kind of a underworld guy, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, and they get this mission, and they are trying to pull off this con against the Empire to get some stuff. And they run into R2 and C-3PO. And this episode, the best, really the reason why we felt like this one really highlighted some of the comedy is Chopper. And Chopper along with R2-D2. And they're playing off each other, both very comedic and both very lovable droid characters, but very different. R2 is kind of this silent hero that always saves the day and is always straight-laced and kind of helping make sure everything stays in line. And Chopper is chaos incarnate. And they end up kind of having a showdown, and it's hilarious. That episode on the hilarious side, and then I already I don't know, we redid this part. I may not have already spoiled it, but
you did
okay.
Yeah.
Episode 5 is called The Rise of the Old Masters, and we wanted to include that one as a contrast for Droids in Distress because that episode highlights just how dark and serious this show can get at times. This, I mean, in the 5th episode of season 1 of this Star Wars show, this is very much for kids. I mean, we enjoyed it, and we're not kids, and a lot of other adults too. A lot of other Star Wars fans and whatnot. But it goes, and they Kanan Jarrus and Ezra, the 2 Jedi in the series, they get a call out that Luminara Unduli is alive. And if you don't remember, she was a Jedi Master. She's in Clone Wars. She was an awesome Jedi, a great person. She was very, very knowledgeable, wonderful old Jedi Master. So they're like, okay, she's alive. Like, well, this may not be true, but we're going to go find out. And so when they do get there, it is a trap from the Grand Inquisitor. I mean, surprise, of course. But and she's dead. Not only and what's crazy about it is not only is she dead, but her body is there and shown and whatever else. And it's I don't know that it's scary. There are scarier episodes even in Clone Wars, but it's real heavy and real dark. We also see Kanan get to really struggle with being a Jedi, being a master to Ezra, and him struggling with feelings of inadequacy and some of those real genuine struggles, kind of almost parenting struggles, and which is very interesting for adults again in this kid show. So those two episodes kind of sum up some of the really great things about Rebels. That's why that's our first choice.
First.
Yeah.
First and first. So, our second episode is Path of the Jedi, which is episode 10. It's another it's not dark, but it's got some really cool Jedi lore stuff. It's the episode, if you have already watched it, it's the episode with the Jedi Temple. Kanan, on Lothal. Kanan and Ezra go inside this temple. And Ezra goes in and ends up doing series of tests to kind of figure out, if he's ready, kind of thing. And Kanan goes through and is kind of being kind of the same thing as Sean was talking about earlier. He's kind of feeling inadequate and being questioned about whether or not he's ready to be this kid's master. And anyway, very interesting episode. A lot of the really cool balance between the master and the apprentice and their relationship. You also have all the lore and the really cool visuals of the Jedi Temple and the kind of, I don't know if it's dream states or whatever you would call them, being
force walking.
Vision.
I don't know.
Force walking. Lots of character building for Kanan.
Absolutely.
And
more so probably even than Ezra in that particular episode.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Even though it's kind of seems like it's supposed to be about Ezra, but we
and Ezra does get his stone at the end. Yeah, his little what are they called?
Kyber crystal.
Yeah, there you go.
Stupid gun lightsaber. I think a lot of people do like that one. I always thought it was a little bit. I mean, it makes sense.
It's cheesy. It does make sense for him. It is very cheesy and very different, but
yeah,
it's like the lighthearted of the lightsaber.
Right.
So, what's our number 3?
Yeah, our third favorite episode. I don't know that these are in any order, by the way. These are not like a ranked order. The third episode that we want to talk about from season 1 of Rebels is Gathering Forces, episode 9. Okay, so this is the episode, and if you remember, if you watched it, this is the episode with Sibo. So they go back to Lothal, and Ezra, of course, has been struggling for a good chunk of this season with the fate of his parents and what happened to them. Are they alive? Are they dead? Are they what happened? They were kind of freedom fighters against the Empire. They were underground and whatever, and so he's worried. He's tried to find out what happened to them because he doesn't know, and so he's going to do that. He's trying to do that, and they end up discovering Sibo, who was his parents' friend, and he's got these implants from the Empire, and he's got this stuff, and it kind of
talking crazy.
He's talking crazy and acting crazy, and which of course Ezra is concerned, and then we find out later even that he kind of betrayed his parents, and that's actually why he decided to get these Imperial implant things with these plants, so that he could basically right his wrongs and whatever. He doesn't tell Ezra about it, but he does admit to Hera later that he knows what happened to Ezra's parents. And so the interesting thing about this episode is it's some really good character development for Ezra, which he needed. Ezra is still one of my least favorite characters, even to the end. But it's episodes like this where we get that even one of my least favorite characters, and we get him elevated, and we get much more interest, and we get to see him, basically him having to grow up, his pain of his juvenile life, and dealing with loss of his parents, and dealing with this old friend, and trying to save him, and then learning that he was not good, and then learning that he was trying to be, him having to deal with all of these emotions, and all the rest of the crew walking through that with him. This first season, this first season, it was hard to pick episodes because there weren't any that we just loved in season 1. We had the opposite. problems starting even in the second season. But this first season, even with brand new cast, this episode and other episodes, it just highlights how good these characters are and how interesting, how enjoyable all of these characters. You get this really interesting family dynamic.
And even with Ezra being not necessarily your favorite, he's like, they as the full cast is just so much far and above so many things that Star Wars has done in the past.
Well,
as far as like a group, there's some good, like I really like Finn from the last three movies, but I don't necessarily like some of the other characters that they did in those movies.
Right.
And as a whole cast, they're kind of subpar in my opinion. But in this is probably, as far as a whole cast across the board characters, this is probably the best.
I actually like a lot of, it's hard to say because Clone Wars is so much longer and has so many more arcs and things. But in some ways, I think kind of in the minority, but in some aspects, I actually like Rebels even better than Clone Wars. So they're both really good.
I love Ahsoka. She's my favorite character of the whole thing. So I have to still say that Clone Wars is...
Well, she's got some
probably
pretty
my
dang
number two,
amazing stuff in Rebels.
Rebels is probably number two.
She's got some pretty amazing episodes.
She does have some good
some
episodes.
of her, can't say this as much now that season 7 of Clone Wars has come out, but before that, some of her absolute best moments, well, it still is some of her best, but not as good as Clone Wars season 7, but some of her best moments are in Rebels, in my opinion.
If you haven't
which we'll talk about later in season reviews.
If you haven't watched either Clone Wars or Rebels, and you are a big Star Wars fan, you should definitely check them out. I know we've said this in the past a million times. They're a little kiddie. They're made for kids. And initially, really, Clone Wars really hard. It's very childlike in the first several episodes, and it's very hard to get into. Finally, it starts to break down that a little bit and gets pretty serious. And after you get through some Jar Jar stuff and other things,
there's not very much of that.
No. But anyway, we hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. Yeah, that's right. Tell us in the comments below what's your favorite episode of season 1 of Rebels is.
Haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
See y'all later.
Did you remember to get the Melu runs?
Oh, Barracast. Melu run.
The Melu run? Barracast. You remember to get the
Melun. The Melun run.
Did you remember to get the Melu run? I can't even say the word.
You are funny. You are entertaining.